Under the mesmerizing glow of Manhattan's skyline, a storm was brewing in one of New York City's most illustrious television studios. Tonight wasn't just another broadcast, it was set to be a battleground of wits and wills. Linda Collins, the formidable host known for unearthing truths that most would rather keep buried, was preparing to face off with Aaron Rodgers, the enigmatic quarterback whose brilliance on the field was matched only by the controversies off it. The studio buzzed with electric anticipation, every seat filled with spectators hungry for drama. The air was thick with whispers and speculations. Would Linda finally be the one to crack Rodgers' unshakable composure? Cameras poised like predators, ready to capture every flicker of emotion, every subtle shift that could signal the unraveling of guarded secrets. Rodgers stepped onto the stage, his impeccably tailored navy suit doing little to soften the edge in his eyes. He carried himself with a calm confidence, but beneath the surface there was an undercurrent of tension. He was no stranger to the spotlight, but this felt different. Linda had a reputation. She didn't just interview her guests, she laid them bare. As the final countdown echoed through the studio, Linda locked eyes with Rodgers, a slight smirk hinting at the challenge ahead. The audience leaned in, breath held, on the cusp of a conversation that promised to be anything but ordinary. The question hung heavily in the air. In a duel between an unstoppable force and an immovable object, who would yield first? Linda Collins began the interview with a warm, professional tone, delving into Aaron Rodgers' recent achievements They exchanged pleasantries, discussing his latest season, the team's dynamics, and his future aspirations. Rodgers answered gracefully, his calm demeanor making it clear he was prepared for whatever came next. Then, as if flipping a switch, Linda's tone shifted. She leaned forward, eyes narrowing slightly as she transitioned from friendly host to relentless interrogator. Aaron, you've had an incredible career, but there have been some controversies off the field. Let's talk about your recent comments on the pandemic and vaccines. Some say it was irresponsible and misleading. How do you respond to those critics? Rodgers knew this was coming. He had been outspoken about his personal beliefs, and it had stirred significant public debate. He maintained his composure, meeting Linda's gaze without flinching. I believe in the importance of individual choice and personal freedom, he began. Everyone should have the right to make decisions about their own health. But Linda was far from satisfied. She pressed on, her questions becoming increasingly pointed. But don't you think, as a public figure, you have a responsibility to set a good example and not spread misinformation? Some believe your stance has contributed to public mistrust in science and health experts. The audience watched intently, the tension in the room thickening. Rodgers remained unruffled, his voice steady as he replied, I've always encouraged people to do their own research and make informed decisions. It's about fostering dialogue, not dictating what's right or wrong. Sensing that she hadn't yet broken through his defenses, Linda shifted gears again. She brought up past relationships, failed endorsements, and even rumors about his conduct on and off the field. There are allegations that your behavior has sometimes been less than professional, both in your personal and professional life. How do you respond to that? Rodgers took a moment, his expression contemplative. I'm not perfect, and I've made mistakes, like everyone else. But I've always tried to learn and grow from those experiences. What matters to me is integrity and staying true to my values. Linda wasn't done. She had one last card to play, a question designed to cut deep. Some say you've let fame get to your head, that you've lost touch with the everyday struggles of your fans. What would you say to them? Rodgers paused, his eyes reflecting a mix of emotions. I'd say that's not who I am, he said, quietly. I care deeply about my fans and their struggles. Fame hasn't changed that. The room was silent, the tension almost palpable. Linda sensed she was close to pushing Rodgers to his breaking point. She leaned in, her voice dropping to a near whisper, making the moment even more intense. Aaron, you say you care about your fans, but many feel abandoned by you. They say you've become more interested in your image than in connecting with them. What would you say to those fans? Rodgers took a deep breath, his eyes scanning the audience, and then settling back on Linda. I understand where they're coming from, he began, his voice steady. The pressures of fame can make it hard to stay grounded, and I know I've made mistakes along the way. But I want my fans to know that I hear them, and I'm working on being better every day. Just as Linda was about to pounce with another cutting question, a young boy in the audience stood up. He couldn't have been more than 12, but his voice was clear and unwavering. Mr. Rodgers, you've always been my hero. I wanted to say thank you for inspiring me to never give up even when things get tough. The studio gasped, and Linda looked momentarily taken aback, but quickly regained her composure. She tried to redirect the conversation. That's very sweet, but let's stay on topic. Aaron, what do you say to? Before she could finish, Rodgers held up a hand to gently interrupt. Wait, I'd like to address the young man. He turned his full attention to the boy, his expression softening. Thank you. That means more to me than you know. If I can inspire even one person to keep going when times are tough, then I feel like I've done something right. The audience erupted in applause, and Linda found herself struggling to regain control of the interview. She had underestimated the power of genuine human connection and the loyalty of Rodgers' fans. For the first time, Linda felt the interview slipping from her grasp. Rodgers had turned the tables, and the crowd was now firmly on his side. Trying to salvage the moment, Linda attempted to steer the conversation back to the controversies, but the mood in the room had shifted. Rodgers' calm, genuine responses were resonating with the audience. They weren't interested in the scandals anymore. They wanted to see the man behind the headline. As the cameras continued to roll, it became clear that this interview was taking an unexpected turn. Rodgers wasn't just surviving the ambush, he was owning it, and in doing so, he was winning over everyone in the room. Linda Collins was a professional, but even she found it difficult to regain her footing after the unexpected twist. The audience's reaction to the young boy's heartfelt comment had thrown her off balance. She quickly realized that her usual hard-hitting approach wasn't going to work this time. Aaron Rodgers had captured the audience's hearts, and any further attempts to trip him up would likely backfire. Determined to salvage the interview, Linda tried to shift gears. She decided to explore Rodgers' philanthropic efforts, hoping to find an angle that would still spark controversy. Aaron, let's talk about your charitable work. While you've made significant contributions, some critics say it's just a way to improve your public image. How do you respond to that? Rodgers smiled slightly, understanding Linda's new tactic. I've always believed in giving back to the community, he replied. My efforts are not about improving my image, but making a genuine difference. Whether it's through my foundation or personal contributions, my goal is to help those in need. Linda pressed further. But isn't it true that you've used these charitable events to promote your own brand? Some have accused you of being more concerned with media coverage than the actual cause. Rodgers didn't miss a beat. Visibility can amplify the impact of charitable work, he explained. If my involvement brings more attention and resources to important causes, then I'm happy to leverage my platform. It's about creating positive change, not seeking personal gain. The audience applauded once again, clearly appreciating Rodgers' candid responses. Linda sensed she was losing the crowd and decided to pivot to a more personal topic. Let's talk about your family. Your relationships have often been in the spotlight, and some have speculated that your career has taken a toll on them. How do you balance the demands of your profession with your personal life? Rodgers paused, taking a moment to gather his thoughts. It's not always easy. Being in the public eye can put a strain on personal relationships, but I've learned to prioritize what's important. My family and loved ones know how much they mean to me, and I make conscious effort to spend quality time with them. Linda saw an opportunity. Some have suggested that your focus on your career has caused you to miss out on important moments with your family. How do you address those criticisms? Rodgers looked directly into the camera, his expression sincere. I've made sacrifices for my career, just like anyone striving for excellence in their field. But I've also learned the importance of balance. I'm continuously working to be there for my family and cherish every moment we share. The crowd's applause grew louder, and it was clear that Rodgers' honesty and vulnerability were winning them over. Linda realized that the interview had taken a life of its own, far from the scandal-driven spectacle she had envisioned. The atmosphere in the studio had shifted from tense to almost reverent. The audience was fully captivated by Aaron Rodgers' genuine responses and the raw humanity he displayed. Linda Collins, sensing the shift, knew she had to adapt her approach. She decided to delve into Rodgers' thoughts on leadership and mentorship, hoping to draw out more of his personal philosophy. Aaron, Linda began, her tone softer now, you've been a leader both on and off the field. How do you approach leadership, and what advice would you give to those looking to make an impact in their own lives? Rodgers leaned forward, his expression thoughtful. Leadership is about authenticity and empathy, he said. It's not just about making decisions or giving orders. It's about understanding the people you're leading, their needs and their strengths. I've always tried to lead by example, showing that hard work, integrity, and resilience matter. The audience nodded in agreement, clearly resonating with his words. Linda saw an opportunity to explore this further. Can you share a specific moment where you felt your leadership was truly tested? Rodgers paused, reflecting on his career. There was a time when our team was struggling, both on the field and internally. Morale was low, and it felt like everything was falling apart. I knew I had to step up, not just as a player, but as a leader. I focused on bringing the team together, fostering open communication, and rebuilding trust. It wasn't easy, but we came out stronger on the other side. Linda continued, genuinely intrigued. And what about mentorship? Have you had any mentors who shaped your journey? Rodgers smiled, clearly appreciative of the question. Absolutely. I've been fortunate to have incredible mentors throughout my career, from coaches to teammates. They taught me the importance of perseverance, humility, and never losing sight of what truly matters. I try to pass those lessons on to younger players, helping them navigate the challenges of their own journeys. The studio was silent, hanging on Rodgers' every word. Linda realized that this interview had evolved into something far more meaningful than she had anticipated. Rodgers was not only addressing his critics, but also sharing his wisdom and experiences in a way that was inspiring to everyone watching. As the interview drew to a close, Linda decided to give Rodgers the final word. Aaron, what message do you want to leave with your fans and viewers tonight? Rodgers looked into the camera, his expression sincere. I want people to know that no matter the challenges they face, they have the strength to overcome them. Stay true to yourself, support each other, and never stop striving for excellence. We're all capable of incredible things if we believe in ourselves and each other. The audience erupted in applause, and Linda knew that this interview would be remembered not for the controversies, but for the genuine connection that had been forged between Rodgers and his fans. As the applause subsided, Linda Collins took a moment to absorb the shift in the room's energy. She had started the interview with the intent to challenge and provoke, but it had transformed into something much deeper and more meaningful. The sincerity of Aaron Rodgers' words had resonated with everyone present, creating a sense of unity and inspiration. Seeing an opportunity to deepen the connection, Linda decided to ask a more personal question. Aaron, you've shared a lot about your professional life on leadership and mentorship, but let's talk about what keeps you grounded. What are the things that bring you joy and fulfillment outside of football? Rodgers smiled warmly, clearly appreciating the change in tone. My family and friends are my anchor, he began. Spending time with them, whether it's a quiet dinner at home or an adventure outdoors, always reminds me of what truly matters. I also love giving back to the community, especially through youth sports programs. Seeing kids discover their passion for the game and develop their skills is incredibly rewarding. Linda nodded, genuinely interested. That's wonderful to hear. Can you share a specific moment that stands out to you where you felt truly connected to those you care about? Rodgers took a deep breath, a look of fondness crossing his face. There was a time when I organized a surprise visit to a local children's hospital. We spent the day playing games, sharing stories, and just bringing smiles to their faces. One young patient in particular left a lasting impression on me. Despite facing serious health challenges, he was full of energy and optimism. His strength and positivity were incredibly inspiring, and it reminded me of the impact we can have on others' lives, no matter how small the gesture. The audience was visibly moved, and even Linda found herself touched by the heartfelt story. She realized that the essence of this interview was no longer about controversy, but about showcasing the humanity and authenticity of a man who had become a role model to many. As the interview approached its final moments, Linda decided to give Rodgers a platform to share his vision for the future. Aaron, you've achieved so much in your career already. What's next for you? What are your aspirations moving forward? Rodgers looked thoughtful, his gaze steady. I want to continue to challenge myself, both on and off the field. There's always room for growth, and I'm excited to see where my journey takes me. More importantly, I hope to use my platform to inspire others and give back to the community in meaningful ways, whether it's through my foundation, mentorship, or simply being there for those who need support. I want to make a positive impact. The audience erupted in applause once more, and Linda realized that this interview had transcended its original purpose. It had become a testament to the power of genuine connection and the impact of staying true to one's values. As the interview approached its final moments, the atmosphere in the studio had become one of deep respect and admiration. Linda Collins, who had started with a hard-hitting agenda, now found herself inspired by Aaron Rodgers' honesty and authenticity. She decided to close the interview on a reflective note, giving Rodgers a chance to leave a lasting impression. Aaron, you've shared so much with us tonight, Linda began, her tone genuine and warm. Before we wrap up, I'd like to ask, what legacy do you hope to leave behind, both as an athlete and as a person? Rodgers paused, considering the weight of the question. I want to be remembered not just for my achievements on the field, but for the kind of person I strive to be off the field, he said. I hope my legacy is one of resilience, integrity, and a commitment to making a positive impact in the lives of others. Whether it's through my charitable work, mentoring young athletes, or simply being a good friend and family member, I want to be remembered for the good I've done. Linda nodded, clearly moved by his response. Thank you, Aaron, for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us tonight. It's been an honor to hear your story and your perspective. Rodgers smiled, his gratitude evident. Thank you, Linda, and thank you to everyone watching. It's been a privilege to share this time with you all. As the cameras panned out, capturing the studio audience's standing ovation, Rodgers shared a handshake, a silent acknowledgement of the profound conversation that had unfolded. The interview had started with the intent to challenge and provoke, but it had ended on a note of connection and inspiration. Aaron Rodgers had not only defended his character, but had also touched the hearts of everyone present, leaving a powerful and enduring impression. As the interview concluded and the cameras stopped rolling, the studio buzzed with a mixture of emotions. Aaron Rodgers and Linda Collins shared a genuine moment of appreciation, acknowledging the unexpected but profound journey they had taken together. The audience slowly began to disperse, many of them still discussing the powerful impact of Rodgers' words. Backstage, Rodgers was greeted by his team, who were visibly moved by the interview's outcome. "You handled that incredibly well," his manager said, patting him on the back. "You showed everyone the real you." Rodgers nodded, feeling a sense of relief and accomplishment. The interview had been a test of his character, and he had emerged stronger, more connected to his fans than ever before. He walked towards the exit. He was stopped by the young boy from the audience, the one who had bravely stood up to express his admiration. "Mr. Rodgers, thank you for everything," the boy said, his eyes shining with admiration. Rodgers knelt down to the boy's level, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "No thank you," he replied. "Your words meant a lot to me. Always remember to believe in yourself and never give up." The boy beamed, and Rodgers knew that this was the true reward of his journey, the ability to inspire and uplift others. As he left the studio, he felt a renewed sense of purpose and commitment to making a positive impact. Meanwhile, Linda Collins sat in her dressing room, reflecting on the interview. She had started with the intent to challenge and expose, but she had ended up facilitating a conversation that highlighted the best of humanity. It was a humbling experience, and she realized the power of genuine dialogue and connection. The interview aired later that night, and the response was overwhelming. Viewers from all over the country praised Rodgers for his authenticity and integrity. The segment became a viral sensation, spreading messages of resilience, kindness, and the importance of staying true to oneself. Aaron Rodgers had not only defended his character, but had also touched the hearts of millions. His response on live television had left everyone speechless, not because of controversy, but because of the profound humanity he had shown.